need that. We got power. This is a 12 volt DC mini split air conditioner. So this will run off a battery. It's made by OutEquipPro. It's actually made for a van, a camper, small bus, something like that. Not made for a cabin. They haven't installed one of these in a cabin yet. So this is kind of a first. No guarantees this is gonna work, but let's see how this looks, because I haven't really opened this yet. So this is the wall unit. This will go inside. It's nice and light. I like that. Should make installing it easy. It's got a remote, some hoses, some tape, a board for mounting it. Let me go get the outside unit, the part that actually has the compressor, basically the air conditioner unit. So here's the actual power part of the unit, the compressor. Oh boy. All right, this might be a little harder to show you what we got going here. It's a little heavier, it's bigger. I believe this weighs about 40 pounds. So this gets mounted outside. Overall, I'd say it looks like it should be pretty easy to mount. So it comes with all the mounting hardware that you would need if you were mounting this on a van or a bus or a camper, something like that. It has these rivet nuts. This, you just drill a smaller hole, pop it through, and bolt it on from the other side. It's got some metal brackets. Comes with this rubber gasket for sealing your opening. The only thing I think I might have a problem with this is it's a really thin ridge that it's supposed to sit in, which my cabin wall is a lot different. I'll probably end up gluing this in or siliconing it in, something like that. So it's got all the hardware. It's got these bars for stiffening up a thin metal wall, like a van door or a back wall on something that it's more meant for, honestly. It's got a remote control. This is for bundling your cables and hoses, and some more screws. I'm guessing it might say somewhere in the description how much cable this comes with, but I do need to know, because without knowing that, I don't know how far I can get this from the battery. So right there's 6 feet. 7, 8, 9, 10, almost 11 feet of power cable. I just want to give you a little better look at this. It's plastic outside. It's got these 2 fans here. It's got a thick, heavy-duty plastic mount back here with, looks like 10 holes that you can bolt it to. Weighs about 45 pounds, which doesn't really matter so much for this, but if you're putting it on a camper, that lightweight would be pretty nice. Back here is where your coolant hoses go. They go from here to the inside and hook to the inside unit. High pressure, low pressure. The unit is fully charged with coolant when you get it. This is the control cable. It's about 10 feet long. This is going to come through the wall and hook to the inside unit. That'll be your controls. Anyways, now I need to figure out my bolt spacing. So the outside to outside mounting holes are 22 inches, 17 inches from here to here. I will mount a 2x4 here and a 2x4 here, and I'll make sure that there's 17 inches center to center. That way all these holes can be filled with screws. That'll hold it nice and tight. So I decided I'm going to cut these down to 30 inches. I think that'll work out pretty good. Before I went to the cabin, I actually ripped an angle cut on these 2x4s. That's to stop water from pooling up on them. Alright, so this is where my cables come out. Just kind of curious what I'll have. If I'll have enough to reach. I guess if I go right at an angle like that, I probably will. My hoses come out right here. I'm considering putting it in the loft, but I'm not 100% sure I can make it up there. I'd say there's plenty of Plenty of length to the hoses. All right. Measured on the inside of the wall, added the thickness of the wall in this trim, and I should have a stud at 28 1/8 and a stud at 52 3/8. So one stud is going to be here, so I'm going to have to cut this one, this one, this one, and this one. Take this way just a little bit. 52 3/8. Should have a stud right here. 28 1/8. Should have a stud right here. Good. So here's a few details on this unit. It's 12,500 BTUs. It's rated for 12 volts, has under voltage protection and over voltage protection. The inside unit's actual weight is 21 pounds and the outside unit weighs 52. So one of the things it says in the instruction is to mount this with hand tools only, and that's probably so you don't use something like this and over tighten it. That's why I set the clutch on my drill, set it to 13, that way it stops before it over tightens and breaks this plastic mount. It's a good solid mount, but either way I think there is the chance of cracking it, and if you crack it you're kind of in a world of trouble then. That doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty nice even. Probably enough to reach, I don't know, it's kind of close. So now I need to mount the inside unit. What I really wanted to do was put it up in the loft, but I have that USB outlet up there and it is right in the way. No matter where I put this, it's going to interfere with mounting this on the wall up there. So what I'm going to do is put it right here. I've got one stud that I'll hit right here. It doesn't look like I'm going to hit another stud here, but this is 3/4 inch tongue and groove. Should hold this just fine. This thing only weighs maybe 20-25 pounds. That seems pretty sturdy. See, that fitting is going to go up in there. So the top of my hole, green one's going to sit somewhere in there. So the bottom of my hole needs to be somewhere in there. In my opinion, this is the worst part of any project. Making a hole through the wall always makes me uncomfortable. I'm going to try to do a small hole, and a small hole on this side, just big enough for the hoses to fit through. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the recommended size for that rubber grommet. So here goes. Okay, now I'm into the insulation, so I'm going to try running the drill bit in reverse. Hopefully that won't grab the insulation. I highly doubt that'll work with a hole saw, but with a bit, it doesn't have any teeth. Maybe I'll get lucky. I got some insulation, that's for sure. There we go. Now for this, I think I'll take the prongs out of the fitting and then bundle the wire together. I'll try to feed it through one smaller hole, or maybe out and around this way. That should work, something like that. Now I need to make this hole big enough for this fitting to fit through. And I think this 1.1/8 is just barely big enough. So I'm going to drill the one on the left, which is the bigger one, to 1.1/8. The other one, I think 7/8 will work. Let's make sure that the 1.1/8 will fit this. Yep, nice. 7/8. All right. Oh wow, easily. Once again, scary part. And there's a mess of insulation. I think if I can just spread this out enough to where I can see through the hole. Oh yeah, that worked all right. All right, so blue goes on the top, red goes on the left, black goes on the right. All right, that one should come out. Yep, just like that. You see these little pins? Just got to depress it. Press it through the hole. Okay. So looking at that, I can pretty much tell I need to drill a little bit bigger hole. All right, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I think maybe I can tape this right to the end of this drill bit. Possibly get it out that way. Maybe this will work. There we go. Got it. And red. Okay. It does. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. I'm gonna actually have to unscrew this, hook the hoses on, then put it back in. Otherwise, there's just no way I can feed that in there. Make sure they're not crossed. Yeah, that should be right. Well, I made another significant mistake. Easily fixed, but annoying. I forgot that I need to feed this wire through this grommet. So I gotta pop these back out, feed the wire back out the wall, then back in the wall so that it's through the grommet. So this time, remember to feed this through here. But I still need to tighten these. There we go. There we go. So that's the trick. Push on the middle, push inside of it, not on the rim. Stuck it in there pretty good. Hoses are a little long for where I mounted it, but that is better than too short, I suppose. So. Just gonna snug these up until I can come back with some good wrenches, tighten everything properly. Well, that's the biggest wrench I brought. That's a 15/16, and it doesn't fit. So I'm assuming this is either, it looks like a 1-inch would work, or some kind of metric number. I've got a 3/4 here. 3/4, it's a little sloppy, but it seems to work. Seems pretty tight. I think I'll just finish this with the channel locks. That's pretty tight. I don't think it's going to get any tighter just because I get a wrench. So I'm going to drill a hole. I need to move these solar cables that way I don't accidentally drill into them, because that would wreck my day. Possibly some other stuff. That should be safe. This is the size of the cable. I'm actually going to cut this and fish it through and splice it outside. I'll try this drill bit for now. Alright, I'm going to have to do some of this from outside. So I'm going to use these heavy duty butt splices. All right, I'm going to have to file that. Yeah, that's going to have to do it. So one thing, unfortunately, that I noticed is it does have a rubber drain tube that comes down here. This drains any condensation that comes out of the inside unit. Had I noticed that, I would have put these wires over here out of the way. But, so anyways, this tube slides onto the rubber tube here. I need to pop a hole through the wall and then drain it down. 5/8 should work. Vacuum pump is off. plug it into this power station. Hopefully it'll run it. It should. All right, let's see here. Uh-oh. Do I have to turn the AC on? Yep, there we go. All right, let's try this again. Now I'm gonna open these up. Here it's pulling vacuum. So this one's already reading -30, which I believe is where you want it. This one's a little above -30. Double check, make sure this is tight enough. Everything seems really tight. So we're gonna let that run for about a half an hour. What we're looking for is -30 on this gauge, and we want to hold that for half an hour. And then once half an hour comes, we're going to crank these valves tight, shut off the vacuum pump, and let it sit to make sure that it holds this -30, and that'll show that there's no leaks in the system. All right, it's been more than a half hour, probably close to 40 minutes. Everything looks good, so what I'm going to do now is shut both of these valves, then I'm going to shut my pump off. That way we can test for leaks. Okay, those are shut, closed, pump is off. The needles don't appear to be moving. We're gonna let this sit now for about another half hour, 40 minutes, something like that. Make sure these haven't moved. As long as they haven't moved, then we'll pull these off, put the caps on, and release the refrigerant. So one thing I want to point out, I had this vacuum pump. I use it to stabilize wood for knife handles. It ran, if I remember right, around $160. I had to go buy these today, this gauge cluster and manifold with these hoses. That was about 135 bucks. So you put them together, you're looking at right around $300 worth of tools. That's a pretty big investment in tools that you will likely not use again. But I would assume a heating and cooling person could probably come out here and do this same job for around 150 bucks. Now, that's saving you 50 bucks. It's also bringing someone in who knows exactly what they're doing. Say there's a leak, they'll know how to fix it. They'll know what the problem is. They'll be able to troubleshoot things that go wrong. Might end up costing you $300, but if you spend $300 in parts and then you have a problem and you can't figure out the problem, you're gonna have to bring a heating and cooling person out anyways. So my advice is just skip this part and hire someone that knows what they're doing to do this part. All right, it's been about 40 minutes. Gauges are still reading -30. I would assume that means there's no leaks. So now I'm gonna take these hoses off here and put the caps on. It does have a little valve in there. I hardly heard any puff of air, so I'm thinking that I didn't lose any of the vacuum. So it says to open the low pressure valve first. It says open it fully, and I believe you slowly open the valves. That is a 5mm Allen wrench. I'm gonna slowly open this. Wow. Everything I've seen online says to open these slowly and there's a stop, so you turn it all the way out. And it'll stop, I hope. Yep, there's a stop. Okay. Now I gotta open the red high pressure one all the way. That's also a 5mm. Okay, put these caps back on. Right now it's 75.6 outside on the top, 76.5 inside, 4:13 a.m. That's not right, but at least it'll give us a sense of what time it is. So right now we're starting at 4:13. We'll go like an hour and see if it cools it down in here. Just take a look. Right now my charge controller says 13 volts on the battery. It's somewhat sunny out, but I'll go show you what that looks like too. All right, just to show you what we've got for sunshine. The sun is up there, but once again, it's pretty cloudy. So you can see what I've got for panels. These have some shadows on them. These panels are meant to do better with shadows than other panels, and they do. There, oh, you can see the suns came out now. That's better. So anyways, we've got those there. That's 400 watts of panels. Probably not actually putting out 400 watts because it's not perfect condition. And then I've got these over here. There's the unit. Just running, humming along nicely. I've got these panels over here. That's another 400 watts, but you can see they're really not getting much of any sunlight as far as direct sun. So I would say if we're lucky, this is putting out, I don't know, maybe 200 watts at the very most, probably closer to like 150, because if those were getting full sun, they'd be blinding. And the ones in the back, I would assume probably between 200 and 300 watts right now. So anyways, we'll keep an eye on the battery and we'll keep an eye on the temperature and we'll give it about an hour, see what we get. And again, this is meant for a camper or a van or maybe a small motorhome, a smaller area, lower ceilings, narrow, maybe a little longer, something like that. This cabin is 10 by 14 and the ceilings are probably about 12 feet tall. Let me show you around. Right here you can see it's 10 foot wide, 14 feet long, 12 foot ceilings with a loft. So that honestly is a pretty large area. So this is what we've got. We started at 413, it was 75 outside, 76 inside. It is now 440, so 27 minutes later. 77 outside, so it came up 2 degrees outside, and 68.9, we'll just say 69 inside, so it's dropped 7 degrees inside. That's doing pretty good. Honestly, I don't think I even need to go an hour on this test. Right now it says 453. We started at 413. I actually moved this thing because I had it closer to that side of the room. I thought, well, maybe it's getting colder faster because it's a little closer to the unit, so I moved it way over here to the opposite side of the room. And on the opposite side of the room, it's still dropping really quick. It's at 66 degrees and we started at 76 degrees inside. And the temperature is up to 77 outside, so it's up 2 degrees outside and it's down 10 degrees inside. Well, it just turned 455. So that's 42 minutes and this thing's dropped the temperature in this cabin 10 degrees. And it dropped the temperature 10 degrees when the temperature outside went up 2 degrees. So I don't know, I'm really impressed. And honestly, it kind of seems like it's quieted down a little bit as it has been used. Well, I've got to say this experiment went far better than I'd even hoped. Honestly, I thought it would work. But when I approached the company about it, they said, we don't know. We've never put one in a cabin. Nobody we know of's put one in a cabin, but let's find out. So, OutEquipPro's mini split air conditioner Works great in my little cabin. In about 45 minutes, it's dropped 10 degrees. My batteries are still at the exact same charge when I started, which is awesome. So if you have enough solar, it's gonna keep up. Basically, the solar's gonna run this thing and your battery's not even gonna take a hit. At night, running at night might be a different story, but during the day when the sun is out and your solar panels are working good, it's doing great. It's not drawing too much power. That's a huge concern in an off-grid cabin. So overall, I think this thing's an awesome product. OutEquipPro knocked it out of the park with this one. Same with my rooftop air conditioner. I really like that. That's in my camper. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you really soon. Got a lot more to come.